Hey everyone, putting together another shop update video. And before I get into today's video, I do want to mention that today is November 10th, which is the Marine Corps birthday. So happy birthday to all those Marines who are serving or that served with me. Um, Additionally, I'd like to take a moment to say thank you to all the veterans, since tomorrow's Veterans Day, who served before me, served with me, and who are currently serving. Um, and then I want to kind of say something like I'm never going to make anything political on my videos. That's not what my videos are about. My videos are about just kind of giving you update of the things that I enjoy doing, which is, working with my hands, building things, and then just giving little bits of knowledge here and there. But I do want to say that despite your political views, it doesn't matter what politics you believe in when it comes to just taking a second to appreciate veterans and their service for our country. A lot of veterans, let's say you think war is bad, and that's fine. There's a lot of people serving in wars that also thinks wars are bad, but they're still serving. All right, so just think about that when you let your politics get in the way of what should just be normal and natural gratitude to those who are serving. Okay, enough of that. Let me give you my updates. I went up to Lowe's this morning. I bought some wood. I really would have loved to get more, but they only had 17 good planks. So this is what I got done. I got half of this wall done, both on the front and the side here. And then after I got those walls down, I had to transition to doing something else to, take up the day. So what I did today, instead of finishing these walls, since I didn't have enough boards, was electrical, more electrical, right? There's a lot of stuff that goes in a wall, y'all, before you close that wall up. And electrical is a big part of that. But in addition to electrical is everything else that you don't think about. And that's what I want to talk about. So first off, I want to say, when you're laying out electrical, you do have to meet the requirements of the NEC for where you're going to put outlets, things like that. So let's see here. Yeah, you can see that in frame. So just to give you an example, this wall right here is about 13 feet wide. Any wall greater than 24 inches requires at least one outlet. And then you have to have appropriate spacing between your outlets. So I put one outlet smack dab centered on this wall. Now there's another outlet right about where that light is. So from this outlet to that outlet down there is probably about 14 feet. The requirement of the NEC is that your outlets be no further than 12 foot from one another. So if you imagine every outlet as a beacon that can send out a 6 foot ring, and then another one that can send out a 6 foot ring, as long as those rings are touching. So 12 feet on center. So, or not on center, just 12 feet apart. I don't know what I'm saying, on center. I'm so used to doing framing right now. So what you don't realize, and you can't see in the video, is that there's a receptacle here, but there's also receptacles over there on that wall. And these walls are only 10 feet apart. So because I have a receptacle here, receptacles over there, that one can be further away because it's not 12 foot on one long wall, but it's 12 foot period, okay? So, I've got outlets on this wall here. So this one here, I was able to, push down just a little bit further, but, lots of outlets. Do yourself a favor. I will tell you that is really put some thought into how you're going to use your outlets too. So, another thing is this outlet here is going to have something in front of it, and then that one's definitely going to have something in front of it because it's a TV. All right, so even though I've got an outlet right here on this wall, I'm never going to be able to use them because they're going to have stuff in front of them. So I've got an outlet over here in the corner that's easily accessible that I don't plan to block. That outlet that's on the other end down there, also I don't plan to have anything in front of it. So that's the other thing too. Just think of how your furniture is going to lay out. and where you're going to have accessible outlets to plug in, like your vacuum and stuff like that when you're cleaning, or plug in like a phone to charge, things like that. The other thing that I want to say is think about your low voltage wiring too. Okay, so I've got Cat 6 here run. I've got 3 running down here. I've got 1 right here where the TV's going to be. So, I've got the Xbox, the PlayStation, whatever else might sit in this console here, and then I have the TV. Granted, everything can run on Wi-Fi. It is my recommendation that if it can be plugged in, take the time to plug it in. I went and bought, I'm still working on the same roll of Cat 6, that same, like 1,000-foot box of Cat 6 is what I bought for when I started doing this space out here with the cottage. I'm still using that same roll. And on the Cat 6, every 2 feet is a measurement that tells you how much is left in the box. And so I still have over 400 feet left in that box. And, it's such a short distance to go here and cruise along this purlin and come down here to where the networking switches are going to be, that why not do it? The Wi-Fi, I'll show you this. The Wi-Fi is going to be outside of this room. So see it coiled up right here? That coil is going to run straight out there, and this is the 30-foot mark. There's 30 feet of shop that way. There's 30 feet of shop that way. So this truss is the center truss of the building. So right here is where I plan on mounting that access point for the shop itself. So yeah, of course, there's going to be Wi-Fi coverage in this room, but why? I don't need it. I don't need the Wi-Fi in this room. Just run cables. So I've got cables run to that back wall. I've got cables run here. Cat 6 is, like I said, Cat 6 is cheap in this phase of the project because it's so easy to run a low voltage cable to something. So that's the other thing. Between outlets and low voltage cabling, think about how you're going to use the space and just do the work at this phase of the project. So, like I said, my videos are not political, but I do like to try to teach you something. And so that's what I wanted to kind of teach you today, is if you're thinking about a project like this, think through how you're going to use those outlets and space everything out. I'm going to show you this space, which I have to do the outlets in tomorrow. So this space is going to be Shannon's home gym. I'm going to set the phone down over here. Ciao. Back up a little bit. So this is going to be your home gym. I'm going to do 2 circuits in here, 2 20-amp circuits. I'm going to have a 20-amp circuit that does this wall and that wall back there, and then a 20-amp circuit that does this wall and right here under the stairs. Now, one other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot out of this circuit. I'm going to shoot up. I'm going to put a box in the center of the room in the ceiling. And this is the next thing that I want to teach is think not only how you're going to use the space, but think of how someone else may want to use the space. Because if you're putting the investment into your home, and you always think of your home like, in that regard as equity or something that you could sell, think about how someone else might use it. Oops, I turned the overhead lights off, and that's going to make it too dark for the video. I meant to turn off these ones. See, too many light switches. So, I'm thinking about that space there as a home gym. That's what we're going to use it for. But when I was originally building this, I'll tell you guys the truth. I wanted to use it as a wood shop. And so that's why I want so many receptacles in there, is because I would have used it as a wood shop. If Shannon didn't want me to help her have a home gym where she can bring her exercise equipment out of the house and have a separate space for her exercise stuff, then that would have been a wood shop. And so that is why I'm going to have 2 20-amp circuits in there, and then also the receptacle in the ceiling. So back here on this wall, you can see, like, when I built the shop here, turn it just a little bit. When I built the shop, we didn't have power everywhere, like running throughout the shop yet. And I just had the main electrical panel. So this is the 200 amp service coming in from the road. It's got a conduit that goes over to the cottage. And so when we built the shop and the cottage, my primary focus was getting the cottage done for Shannon's dad. So in this space, all I had was just this one outlet. And because I had this one outlet, I bought this cord reel. And these cord reels, I tell you what, are super duper nice. Uh-oh. I thought a sneeze was coming on. I avoided it. We're good. But these cord reels are super nice. This has like 3 plugs on it. And, you know, I can roll it out and I can plug in the pressure washers over here. I can roll it out and I can plug in the saws and I can work on building stuff over there. And so that's kind of like a cool central spot. That's a 50-foot cord reel. You can reach everything pretty much in the shop. So I would love, if I had a wood shop, I would love to have something like that in the center of the wood shop where I could pull that down and have like the table saw and stuff like that plugged in. So, you know, again, just this is like the point I'm trying to make is just really think through how you want to use the space while it's still easy to do the work. It's super easy to just throw in one more outlet now when the walls are open. It's not so easy to put an outlet in after the fact, after the walls are done, and sometimes not possible without doing damage to the walls that require repair. So, that's all I wanted to say for today's video is if you're thinking about doing something like this, just think through not only like when you're designing the space, but when you're in the space as you're building it, think through, because you can always make adjustments on the fly to where you want to add outlets and tweak stuff. So that's all I've got for today. I hope you enjoyed this update. Again, happy birthday to the Marines. Thank you to our veterans, and I hope you all have a great night.